Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Cryptic Commander. We are your hosts. I'm John Nose.
I'm MTG Peddler.
And today we've got a special guest with us, JJ Freeze from the Magic the Gathering Content Creator Awards. JJ, thank you for coming on today's show.
Oh, and it's an absolute pleasure. I'm a fan of your show, and it's great to go from listening to being on the show.
Awesome.
Wow, man, those are some big words. Thank you.
Well, yeah, I say that to everybody. So
yes, he has a script. He actually opened a fortune cookie, and that's what it said. So he's like, I'm just gonna roll with this. This works.
Now your name was what again?
Yeah.
No.
So he's got a piece of paper on his desk, and he's got tape over it where it looks like it's laminated.
Actually, I have on my desk. I have a paper where I tried to write down every MTG podcast ever created.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm like on the fourth page, and I'm like, this is an exercise in futility.
Wow.
He has it on like a recording, so it's like, I'm so proud to be on the Cryptic Commander podcast today.
With your name here.
Before we get ahead of ourselves, I want to say that we are proudly sponsored by NorthValleyGames.com, where you can go to NorthValleyGames.com, enter the promo code TCC2021, and save 10% off your order. Also, their new program where they're buying your singles, and you can get an extra 10% cash just by using the same promo code. Partnered with Magic the Gathering Players Group Facebook group and Cosmic Gaming Community. And starting us off this week, Peddler, I believe you're starting us off this week.
Yeah, this week, card of the week is going to be Urza's Saga. No casting cost. As this has a, quote in quotes, as this saga enters, and after your draw step, add a lore counter, sacrifice after the third lore counter. So first turn it's out, Urza Saga gains tap to add one colorless. Second lore counter, Urza Saga gains tap 2 and tap Urza Saga, create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token. With this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. And then with the third lore counter, search your library for an artifact card with mana cost 0 or 1, put it onto the battlefield, and then shuffle. And it is actually an enchantment land, so that's why it's no casting cost, at the rarity level. Very, very powerful card. I could see this getting a lot of play in Commander especially. What do you guys think about good old Urza Saga here?
Oh, this is a beast. It's first of all, congratulations to Wizards for coming up with this type of idea. It's I've noticed that they were combining a lot of ideas together instead of just going solid with a single idea. You'll see something with like Affinity and Cascade in the set, and this is probably their greatest accomplishment, is this enchantment land that is it's going to be abused in so many great ways. It does everything that you want an artifact deck to do, but it also can be leveraged in enchantment decks as well. It's just it does so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I was so surprised. So I was like, where's the casting cost? And I was like, oh, it's a land. Okay. That makes it way more interesting.
Yeah. I was on a different show. I do many shows, and there was a guy on there talking about, this card's not going to be all that. And I'm like, are you looking at the same card? The fact that it was a land, and then they were just confused about where's the casting cost, and it's a land, and then still some people didn't get it. I saw early on, this guy is going to be $25, $35, early on.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I was right,
Near mint foil is $67 right now, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I mean, the thing that popped down in my head when I saw this was, God, I want to solemnity this on its second chapter or the second lore counter and just abuse that over and over again.
Yeah.
To me, that second lore counter is the weakest part of it too. Like all the rest of it's like, oh my god. And the second one's is probably it's still great, but I feel like that's the weakest aspect of it. And if that's the weakest aspect of the card, this card's amazing.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I was about ready to say that I'm not even sure the people that I see play with it, if they're making it to that second phase, because they take it to the first phase and they just keep repeating it over and over.
Yeah.
You know. At any rate, yeah, that's going to be a great card of the week. And that week, this week's card of the week is brought to us by you. That's right, the listeners of this podcast. You guys can go over to the Cryptic Commander Facebook group each and every week and cast your vote on what you want the card of the week to be. We'll go over to Magic the Gathering Arena updates. And this week, Magic the Gathering Arena updates is going to be a little bit different because we've got an explanation to give on one of the events. On June 19th through June 25th, we have Brawl. It's Historic Brawl Fest. Also, F&M at Home. No Limits. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. June 25th. Chromatic Cube Draft, which will be June 26th through July 8th. And last but not least, Turbo Draft, also June 26th through June 29th. I want to go back and talk about the No Limits F&M at Home real quick. Peddler, you might know about this. JJ, you might know about this. Maybe not, but I do want to let the listeners know that the No Limits, number one, build any deck you can think of. Use any card / cards on Magic the Gathering Arena, whether you own them or not, and as many of each as you want. Nothing is banned.
That's awesome.
Everything is available, but your deck must be at least 40 cards. Now, there's a couple things I want to touch base on here, okay? First things first, let's talk about the last thing that was mentioned, but your deck must still be at least 40 cards, okay? If somebody out there is building a 40-card deck and I'm playing a game of Magic, you best believe I'm building a 40-card deck. I'm not building a 60-card deck. I'm not building a 200-card deck because it's all about the math, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to give a heads up that if people are building a 40-card deck, my advice, and this is a good advice, by the way, build a 40-card deck, okay? At any rate, let's go over the rest of this stuff. Build any deck you can think of. What do you think about that, guys?
I'm curious. It said as many cards as you want, so you can just have
right.
you can just have like just one card like 25 times plus the hand.
Persistent Petitioner. You can have a card that you can have any card that doesn't have that rule on it. So like let's say Land of War Elf. Okay, Land of War Elf. Put 40 of them in your deck and no land, or one land, whatever. Yeah, any card you want, man, and as many copies as you want too. You want to play with 40 crabs and 20 islands? Go ahead. You want to play with 20 crabs and 20 fabled passages? Go ahead.
It's like you knew I was thinking of Mill in this situation because that's exactly what I was thinking.
I think a lot of people are, and
I would just be Mill.
I think it's going to be fun. Curious, what do you think, JJ?
Well, I love it when they open up every card to everybody.
Yeah,
I think those moments are So I started on MTGO, and I love the way you can build decks without having the cards available, and I like they continue that in Arena. I'm a deck builder at heart, and I don't even know what I'm going to build, but I will go in there. I'll go in there 12 times in a single day and build 12 different decks that are dumb. Wow.
Sure.
I'll have
Cruise
or 39 arcane adaptations for no reason.
yeah
It's like all your creatures are every kind of creature now, so
yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be some Tibalt trickery decks and everything else you can think of. This is gonna be really interesting, man. Nothing is banned, everything is available. Any cards on Arena, whether you own them or not, as many as you want. This is gonna be wicked, man. And just like you said a second ago, some people out there, I'm a free-to-play player. I think I spent $5 on it one time, okay? But I'm a free-to-play player. And there's a lot of people out there that are free-to-play. And just to have one day where you can have access to all the cards and build any deck you want and have fun with it, this is going to be interesting.
But there's there's going to be moments of heartbreak in there too, where you're gonna go in there with your fun your fun idea, and someone's just playing their regular lifelink deck against you, and you're like,
Yeah.
it's just like, okay.
Yeah. Our tag grid. Yeah. It's going to be on June 25th.
June 25th. Thank you.
June 25th. Yeah. I would definitely mark that one on your calendar.
Nice.
And that's going to be this week's Magic the Gathering Arena updates.
Hey, by chance, did you try out the 100 card brawl they had going?
I did not. I didn't have a chance. I'm not going to lie. I was really super busy trying to put other shows together. I did not have a chance to participate in that event.
Yeah, I did not either. I've had way too much going on in life.
It was just like brawl. It was exactly like brawl, except with more cards.
Well, that whole commander topic keeps coming up in almost every Facebook group I go around. They're never going to bring it to Arena. When are they going to bring it to Arena? I know it's a touchy subject, but I think what's going on is they want a format for Magic the Gathering Arena only.
Yeah,
is what I think. What do you guys think?
Well, it's a so I'm kind of two minds, because I in my MTGO account I have like 50,000 cards, so a significant investment in right. in building stuff in there. And then whenever I see something that mirrors that in Arena, I go to Card Hoarder and price out my whole. Yeah. I'm like,
yeah. Do I sell my online collection now? What do I do here? What do I do? I mean, everybody playing this game, it's so beautiful. I'm not going to lie. The graphics on Arena are just amazing.
Yeah.
And
but I don't think they'll ever be able to perfect four player in Arena.
I agree.
Yeah.
So far, it's only been one-on-one on any format.
Yeah. If they make a move in that direction, then there would be a disturbance in the force.
Yeah.
To answer your question more directly, John, I don't think that there's so much searching for an Arena only format. I think they're just they use Arena as kind of like a template, just to because I'm sure it's cheaper just to program everything in and kind of just throw it on the wall and see if it sticks, than actually trying to get paper formats of new or tweak paper formats in any way. So I'm sure it's cheaper for them in the long run to do it all digitally and see what sticks in Arena. Then they can use that in the future for paper. I think that is their ultimate goal with Arena. I don't think they're switching to a more Arena based trend in the future, because they make too much money on paper.
I agree. They make a lot of money on paper, and only focus on Arena would be kind of silly. So I agree with that. One thing that I keep in the back of my crawl is this game, Arena, is only 2 years old. The cards that are in the database are the cards that are allowed to be in those formats. So right now, as of my understanding, we don't have anything in there from Mirage. We don't have anything in there from Weatherlight or Portal. Yeah.
I
mean, these are some sets that are near and dear to my heart. And maybe there's not a lot of powerful cards out of these sets.
Lion's Eye Diamond?
Well, okay. I said, maybe there's not a lot of powerful cards out of these sets, but I can go on. The list can go on for days, man. In Judgment, there's some great cards that are out there that are not on Arena, but they're on Magic the Gathering Online.
And also, when you say stuff like Mirage and stuff like that, that actually circumnavigates the reserve list, because Lion's Eye Diamond is reserve list, but in theory they're not printing it. So if they put it on Arena, people can actually play with Lion's Eye Diamond, and not have to spend $100 on it to own it. Well, I don't even know how much it's going for. I am scared to look.
Well, they've been with their historic anthologies. They've been introducing some older cards. That, like I said, I get those nervous feelings like, do I need to price out my MTGO? Because when you see like Dramoga's Command, or these ones from Colligan's Command, like traditional, more modern type cards, and it's you can see they're taking little tiny baby steps in that direction.
Yes.
So I don't know if they're trying to change historic into modern,
Right.
What modern was, but that introduction of Modern Horizons 2, it to me that signals that they're not going to fully transition.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to. I agree with you. I don't mean to cut you off, JJ. I think I agree with you because, again, it's what cards are in the database. So if they're not going back all the way and introducing all the cards, right, which would take a real supercomputer, let's face it, right? What I'm getting at here is you got all these cards from just a few years ago, and so you're not going to be able to play modern, but they can have a format called historic. If 10 years down the road, we still got Magic the Gathering Arena, and it's the be all.
Oh, we will.
Right. And it's the be all video format for the game, right? So we still got paper, we got digital. So it's the be all digital format of the game. We're playing Arena and we're playing historic. They'll never change it to modern unless the cloud gets better or something.
Yeah. I mean, that's just how it, I mean, they will develop their computing, capabilities. And I think, I feel like they're making money off of MTGO and off of paper. So I think they see that as a separate line of income.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And just to complete my earlier thought, Lion's Eye Diamond, $650 near mint. Card Kingdom.
I was gonna project $800, but $650. That's about right. Yeah.
And then that, of course, now I'm down the rabbit hole. I'm looking at their Guru Island that they have in stock near mint, $1,600. Oh, I want it.
You should jump on it, man. Get off the podcast and jump on that card.
I'm hoping that when I open up my my remaining case of Modern Horizons 2 collectors, I'll have enough chafe left over to get to that $1,600 to give the Card Kingdom to get that Guru.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know what? That's a good segue into movers and shakers.
It is a great segue into movers and shakers. This week, movers and shakers for our trending down cards, we have Tiny Bones, Trinket Thief, $31.91, trending down slowly. Up next, Scalding Tarn, no real surprise there with the reprints in Modern Horizons 2 is $45.97. And I would like to add a caveat that that is for the new frame non-foil, $45.97, because we have the extended art now. There's the retro frame, retro frame etched, retro frame foil, and let me tell you, those are more than $45. I can assure you.
Okay.
Moving along, Valky, God of Lies, $16.29. Again, slowly trending down. No real surprise there with Kaldheim. In that general age of the set where the cards are coming down before they get their bounce back up. But now, moving on into the positive sector. At number 4, we have Reflect Damage. Again, from Mirage. So there you go. There's a good card from Mirage for you. Currently going for $14.99. That is a 266% increase. Coming in at number 3, we have Retro Fitter Foundry. That is from, looks like Commander 18. 26.28, up 38%. Coming in at number 2, we have Sanctum Prelate, which was the Buy a Box promo for Modern Horizons 2. That is going at $61.49. That is a 52% increase. And on the very top today, once I get to it, hey, it's an old friend of ours. Violent Outburst is back on the charts again.
Wow.
$3.61, which is an increase of 219%. And for those who don't know, Violent Outburst is from, I believe it's Shards of Alara. Is it Shards? No, it's Conflux, I believe.
Conflict, okay.
Alara Reborn.
Alara Reborn. It's a one set that I did not name out of that block. So out of Alara Reborn, I had a 1/3 chance to get it right, and I failed twice. It's one generic, a red and a green. It's an instant at common. It's Cascade, and creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. So that is this week's movers and shakers. I don't know if you guys have any input on any of them. No real surprise, I think, with Scalding Tarn going down.
Nothing really jumped. I mean, I wonder if is Violent Outburst a big popper card?
I know that it was big in they did a modern deck with it in Tibalt's Trickery.
Oh, okay.
It was it was
seems
four
janky.
four violent outbursts. I think four Tibalt's Trickery and four Emrakul's.
Well, that's a deck, and then the rest are lands.
Everything else is lands. Yeah, that is correct.
I call that I might win.
Yeah, I possibly could win. It is a very good way to call that deck.
Yeah, it says right here. It says Tamir Living End seems to be the most popular among these decks playing Violent Outburst at this moment.
There we go. I'm actually surprised that Sanctum Prelate is on the increase just because it's the buy a box promo. So, but then again, how many people are really buying boxes of Modern Horizons 2? Just because of the price point, you know?
Right.
So maybe it's not that big of a. I shouldn't be as surprised as I am, but in my eyes, there's still plenty of people buying this product, regardless of price point. So you would think that there's going to be a million Sanctum Prelates out there, but what do I know?
Right. You know, I'm seeing content creators opening these things left and right. You know.
Yeah, but you know what? Content creators are not the pulse of MTG players as a whole.
Right.
Like I know that I am a very, very abnormal person where I get, you know, I have a case of Modern Horizons 2 collector's boxes just sitting there waiting to open for the channel. That I am atypical as a Magic player.
And I get that. What I'm alluding to is I go on Facebook a lot and I see a lot of people are, you know, hey, I'm waiting on my 6 boxes to come in. I'm waiting on my 2 boxes to come in because I see that they're having shipping issues, right? Some people are 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, even a month out on shipping.
Is there shipping issues?
Oh yeah, there's shipping issues.
Oh man, I got mine yesterday.
Right. So what I'm saying is, you know, you see all this talk on Facebook, and then also you see the content creators opening their boxes and whatnot. I'm not seeing a content creator that normally opens boxes not open a box.
But again, I think that's true of every set. I think you could charge $1,000 a box, and content creators would still be buying them for their channels.
Right.
I know I would.
We have to. Right. We have to.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Got to do what we got to do.
It's hard to resist. It's just we justify it in the moment.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't even justify JJ. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just gonna flip anyway. I know that we were talking before the show started that you have watched some of my content. Everything I open, I flip, and that pays for my next set. And I take all the extras and I buy basic lands because I am a basic land collector.
Oh, nice.
My goal is one of every basic land ever printed.
Oh yeah. I think I remember hearing you saying that during one of the podcasts, and I always looked at I kind of gazed at my favorite lands and never bought them, and you inspired me to go out and buy my Wooburg beta.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's so cool. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I actually just started getting into the higher end ones. I bought my first Guru land. I have 4 of the Summer Magic basics. I'm starting to get into the higher end ones now.
Yeah.
So it's starting to get exciting now. Like I completed from alpha to Modern Horizons 2. Now it's like I'm getting like the promos, the gurus, all the expensive ones.
Now you got all the unhinged and unglued and all those, right?
I have all the unsets.
Okay.
I have all the APAC lands, all the Euro lands.
Mm-hmm.
I have probably 10% of all the promotional lands, like the arena lands.
Mm-hmm.
I have 4 out of 15. Oh, we're going to turn this into a basic land podcast now because I'm absolutely fine with that. I can go on for 2 hours on basic lands.
No, but I will say that my new basic land, because of being a friend with you, is the one from Unsanctioned.
Mm-hmm.
The island,
the full art.
Yeah, the full art island.
Oh,
is my new favorite island because I love blue decks, mono blue decks, and the new full art island from the Unsanctioned has got to be my new favorite.
Let me tell you, my favorite is the Unhinged Island.
Oh, I love that guy, man. I love that. It used to be my
John
favorite.
Avon. Oh my God, John Avon can draw a picture, can he not?
Oh, I know. And I used to love that card, man. I used to love that card, but now this was my favorite now.
It's just funny, like whenever I flip through my collection, because like I take it to my LGS and people honestly like love flipping through it. Like I like they'll spend like 2 hours just flipping through it. It's crazy.
And I'm surprised they're not telling you to start a podcast about basically.
and it's funny because it's like I don't know all the lands by heart, but like I'll look at you'll be flipping and I'll look at an art like, man, that's beautiful, and it's like, oh, it's John Avon. That's why. Right. Like I don't have all his arts memorized, but it's like I just look at it and I know it's John Avon. It's crazy.
I do want to shed some light on something I read this morning when I was drinking my cup of coffee. Let me pull it up here real quick. We've got some news on the WPN, it seems. Wizards of the Coast will relaunch the use of WPN Play metrics for determining Magic the Gathering product allocation starting on July 16th. WotC suspended in-store play last year and paused retailers' play metrics on their Q1 2020 snapshot. As the pandemic winds down, WotC is nudging WPN retailers back into running events by counting play metrics again. Starting with the pre-release events, the Magic the Gathering Dungeons & Dragons Adventures in Forgotten Realms. To start, play metrics will only be counted in the U.S. region. However, other regions will follow in an undisclosed time frame. Retailers will have the entire year to build up their metrics for allocations as a grace period. And during this time, allocations will either be based on the Q1 2020 or live metrics. After the grace period ends, the live metrics will determine allocations. It also is to be noted that all formats will now count towards the engaged players portion of the metrics. Prior to the pandemic, only standard booster draft and sealed events counted towards this metric. Now, any form of Magic played in a retailer's community can contribute to the number of engaged players.
That's kind of rad.
Now, my main question on that is how is that going to affect the new trend of WotC releasing product to the LGSs, and they're holding back some of the allocation and trickling that out on Amazon slowly, because all that's doing is driving up the secondary market for sealed products.
I have no answer. No, I
know. I'm just kind of throwing it out there.
Is this a rhetorical question?
This is extraordinarily rhetorical, because it's. I don't agree with this new way of operating that they've been doing during the pandemic, where it's like it's cutting out the retailers, the local retailers, after the initial allocation is bought and sold. LGSs are just sitting there or just sitting on their thumbs because they can't get product, while all of a sudden it's like the secondary market keeps going higher and higher and higher. Then all of a sudden there's like a 5% dump on Amazon for half the price, and then that gets eaten up in 2 minutes, and then it's back up to raising the cost of sealed in the secondary market. And it's to me, that doesn't seem fair to LGSs. It doesn't seem fair to players. The only people I see profiting off of that is Wizards. So I do not agree with that. And I am a seller on the secondary market. For those who don't know me, I sell singles and I sell sealed on the secondary market. So I actually benefit from this practice. It does not mean I agree with it. but that really irritates me, that it seems like it's more of like that to me seems like the biggest money grab. Like people will say like, oh, this secret layer is a money grab. I don't agree with that at all, but that is a money grab. I like
the Praetor one they just came out with.
Well, we're not on the secret layer set yet. We'll get there. Let me finish my angry rant first, because usually I'm the happy-go-lucky one on here. It's very rare that I get fired up about something.
Yeah.
So it's to me that is a negative in the customer service stratosphere, where people are going to feel like they're either forced to sit there and watch Amazon like a hawk, hopefully, get in on one of these flash deals that they have that last for 15 minutes and they're sold out, or are they going to spend 25% higher than what they can get at their LGS because their LGS doesn't have any on the secondary market? And to me, that is just there's no winners in that besides Watson. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I don't think that the adding their when they add every single game into their metrics now through WPN, I don't think that's a kindness. I think it's more of a control action. Like they're trying
Agreed.
Yeah, they're trying to monitor the stream, and they've been infiltrating the secondary market since they figured out that everybody loves Commander, and they started. What was the first one? Mystery boosters, where they're
Yep.
yeah,
I think
where they
I think it goes before that, JJ. So they used to have their own store, right?
yeah.
That didn't work. Okay, we had Justin Parnell on the show before too, and I mentioned to him too, Justin. I said, "Hey, man, they used to have their own store, and it failed." Now they look at people nowadays and they're like, "Hey, you can start one at your own risk. We'll give you marketing material." And I know this is a sore subject, I really do, right? But I think after that happened, and I saw my friends open up card stores and this and that, I saw with my own eyes that my friends are doing all the hard work. They're the ones out here marketing, and they get people in their store and spend their money and stuff. And Wizards is going, here, man, here's a discount on a box of boosters,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the control happened, I think in 98 or 99, in my opinion. But hey, who am I?
But to jump on JJ's point real fast too,
yeah.
I agree with him that it is more of a control aspect from Wizards, but I see it as being a negative control, where it's because right now they're talking about play over the next year, but in several areas of the country, capacity is still limited. Like here in New Jersey, there is still capacity percentages in play because of what's going on in the world.
Right.
So I think what Wizards is trying to do is they're trying to get less allocation to these stores. That way, so they can, instead of holding 30% to dump on Amazon, they're going to have 35% because they're going to take away from stores that aren't performing well, even though it might be no fault of their own. It might be a capacity thing. So they're just trying to get it so they can hold even more of that initial allocation back to make more money off of it in the long run.
What I do think is cool is any form of Magic played now is considered to contribute to the number of engaged players. I like that. I can go in there and play Commander, and all of a sudden, what? You guys are getting credit for this? Cool.
Sign up for Flip It and Rip It.
Yeah. I'm here to flip it and rip it. Yeah, flip it or rip it. You're getting points for this, right? Yeah. That's funny, JJ. That is funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
See, John is good for putting the silver lining on it. I'm just going to sit here and be a pessimist about it. I'm like, nope.
Well, it's like we have to if we take the emotion out of it, it's you can really base what Wizards is going to do based on business decisions and we all, they're the crack dealer and we're all the addicts and we're going to keep buying it. I can't think of a situation where all of a sudden everyone just stops buying Magic products. We're in too deep. We're in too deep.
It's clearly not a price point thing. They've already broken that threshold with this.
Yeah. Well, they did the same thing with content creators.
Mm-hmm.
They, once they realized that they were going to get their free advertising regardless, they cut them loose. And
there was a 2020. You can Google search Magic the Gathering content creators and just content creators, right? And that will come up in Google. That last year they introduced green light program, something. They introduced something where you get $250,000 or there's a prize of $1 million for a content creator. And by the way, that's not why we started, we started way after that announcement was made, Anyway, we can go more into that in a second when we talk to JJ about the content creator awards, and we have questions for JJ. But I will say that there was another program too. I can't remember the name of it, but that was to entice people to become content creators. So I see the free advertisement from content creators, but also, from my side of point of view, I don't see anything wrong with that, because if anybody's willing to go out and make content for something they have passion for, that business is probably looking at it like, hey, you go, boy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see a problem with it on both sides of the field. I mean, sure, both sides be playing each other, but I mean, WotC at the end of the day is going to come out the whale on it,
Well, I mean, look what we're getting, though. Look at the product we're getting.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. Like the stuff that we can get now is just, it's awesome.
So you got Commander Legends?
cards are awesome. The idea of the cards is awesome.
Yeah.
Like the mechanics, that kind of stuff. What's written on the cards is awesome. The cards themselves are not awesome.
You don't like the official WotC deck holders that are Pringle shaped?
But that's ridiculous. If I'm spending $350, $400 on a box of Modern Horizons 2 and they're going to be Pringles in a week, I have a problem with that.
Why are we spending $350 on a box of product like this? We know it's cardboard. It's pretty cardboard. It's a game. It's a game we play, right? Most of us know that this is also something investable. Now, of course, any collectible is subjected to opinion and very risky when you're wanting to invest, right? But there's money in these cards. Let's face it. You can pull a $70 card, man. You can pull a $3 card. These are facts. These are not.
John, I was texting you before we went on, and I told you I paid for a box of Modern Horizons 2 with a single pack that I opened. It was insane.
I know, buddy.
It's insane.
You also told me you're running before the podcast. You're running to the mailbox and mailing out your cards. And I said, yeah, dude, these prices are dropping like flies.
Like they are not. Trust me. I'm having zero issue currently. I can't.
Well, right now is the time to flip.
I can't list them fast enough. Put it that way. Yeah. I can't list them fast enough. They're just flying off my eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like a turtle with this. Whenever a product comes out like this, and I'm like, oh, I'll see you in a year. Like, that's what I think in my head. It's like, yeah. Oh, it's Time Spiral Remastered. You reprinted Pact of Negation. See you in a year, Pact of Negation.
Yeah, double masters, a foil Force of Will. Cool. Yeah, I'll see you next year, guys.
I wish I had that capability to wait a year on these cards that I'm opening. But like I said, how I operate is as I flip Modern Horizons 2, that's paying for my D&D. So it's like I would love to have the time to sit on these cards for a year, but I just don't. But
you're using the wave, like the wave that you're in, like you're buying, selling in the same wave. It's like when I buy a card, I hold on. I never give up. I hate playing draft because I don't like handing people cards next to me because I want them.
Right. And just one more point, because John mentioned the thing that this is a collectible game. This is true, and like you said, it's a collectible game and it's an investment opportunity. But at that same point, who's going to invest? What is it now? Like $800 for a Jeweled Lotus extended art foil? When that thing's going to be, it's going to be like it's going to be doing a somersault in its sleeve because it's a Commander Legends card. So it's going to be just like folded in half with time.
Right.
It's like I'm not putting $800 of my money on the line, hoping that's going to become $1,000 card in time.
Well, the very few out there that get double sleeved real quick will make it. Here's my point. Okay, I've got bulk boxes in my bedroom, right? I know you don't, Peddler, right? But I got bulk boxes in my bedroom, and I got cards in there from 28 years ago. I picked the card up, and it crumbles. It literally crumbles. Okay,
it's like breaks like glass.
No, I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. It's like you got brown sugar, and it's all packed, and then you pick it up and it just falls apart. That's what it's like, man.
Are you saying I can't take my beta lands out of the grading case?
Sure can. You sure can.
Full on disagree with that statement, because what got me into this was I found a binder in my basement. I was sitting in my basement for like 12 years because I bought my mom's house. I was living out of state, moved back, so I bought my childhood home. So this is where I grew up, and now I own it. So I had my stuff down in the basement from way back when, and I found a binder that had all kinds of original Zendikar fetch lands.
Right.
And I found a box. It's an open box that had a whole bunch of cards in it. And as I was going through those cards, I pulled out a Mercadian Masks foil island. That thing was sitting in my damp, leaky, wet basement for 12 years. And that thing was near mint, crisp, straight as an arrow. I could have easily just put that on eBay and sold it as near mint. No one would have known the difference.
Right.
And then I opened up a pack of Commander Legends and I put it in my climate controlled hutch for a week, and it's folded in half. That's an issue.
I understand where you're coming from. I don't think it's a thing of you disagreeing with. It's just you have a different experience, right? Now, some of the cards I have are from my collection of being, 28 years old, and some are I've gained from other people. I don't know what they did or how they stored their cards. It could have been in Florida for all I know. But I just know that some of the cards I pick up that are really old or will just crumble in my hands. And I'm not saying it was my card or their card or whatever, but it happens. So the 20 years from now, the Commander Legend card, Jeweled Lotus, will still be sought after. We're still looking after the what was that one Mox they came out with in Mirrodin, Scars of Mirrodin. So I'm just saying that this card will still be sought after years later on, depending on the condition, of course. And you're not going to find a lot of them that are not curled. I'm seeing that myself right now. I think you get it in a curled sleeve too.
But just to kind of like round out this point, if you're going to pay premium for a product, I demand a premium product.
Yes.
As a consumer, I demand a premium product. Like if I was a player and not a collector, there's no way I would be buying any form of foils currently. Not a chance.
Let's get over to Secret Layers.
but let's do, because I'm just going to keep on ranting.
I'm trying here, bud.
He's like, so Secret Layers. And I'm like, the foils were terrible.
Yeah, he's usually the nice one.
I'm the happy-go-lucky one. Look how worked up I'm getting. All right, guys, let's talk about
the heat.
Layers.
It must be the weather, guys.
It is the heat, trust me. So they just announced a big good old-fashioned super drop. Now, do you guys want me to go through like each individual one and talk about the cards in them? Because there's 7 total.
That's up to JJ, man. I'm listening.
I like the sound of your voice and the things that you say.
Yeah.
My gosh. As I'm blushing, I'm going to open up the first one, which is the Saturday morning D&D Secret Lair.
Oh my
now, this one includes Commander Sphere, Whir of Invention, Hero's Downfall, Impact Tremors, Primal Vigor, and Unbreakable Formation. And that is available in foil and non-foil.
I heard JJ say, "Oh my God!" as soon as you said it. Now, not to cut you off, man, but this is one of my favorite things I saw that they came out with Secret Lair yet. When I heard they were going to do the Dungeons and Dragons thing, and I saw that the monster manual illustrations were a thing, I'm like, yes, as a Dungeons and Dragons fan. But growing up in the 80s, and I saw that little paragraph they had underneath that, with the release where you get a bowl of cereal. But that's what went through my head, man. Mm-hmm. We got bowls of cereal. We asked mom and dad, can we watch TV? That was first. Yeah. That was first, right? Can we go watch TV? Because if mom and dad said no, you put on your little pouty face until they said yeah, and then go get your bowl of cereal and run down and watch the television. But that Saturday morning cartoon, I remember the goat or the unicorn. It was the bad guy, the main bad guy, and that little guy with the wizard looking thing, right? I guess I can relate to him because I'm a nerd with glasses. And looking at these cards, right away I saw the bad guy. I'm like, oh, that's who I remember. And then the little kid with glasses, I'm like, yes, he used to have a hat though. I remember he had a hat. And then I don't see the unicorn anywhere.
Oh, and if you look at he's got his hand in his hat. He was always pulling weird things out of his hat.
He was. Oh, so the hat's on the card?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Okay. Did you see the unicorn anywhere? Did anybody see the unicorn anywhere?
I just flipped through them quick. I didn't even look.
Yeah. So I remember this cartoon, and I grew up. My mom and dad played Dungeons and Dragons. And if I haven't said it before, I would wake up in diapers and go through the living room or whatever it was. And there was people with ZZ Top beards down to the ground with milk crates and books and paperwork and dice and pencils. That's what I grew up with. And the cartoon was just, my mom and dad didn't even know there was a cartoon, and they were fans of Dungeons and Dragons, and here I was. I mean, this is the stuff we grew up with, guys. Yeah. And some people that are younger than us just getting into Magic, they don't see this. They're like, hey, that's cool artwork and stuff. I'm into the artwork. Don't know anything about the show or nothing, but I think this is going to sell like hotcakes.
Oh, and I don't play D&D, but I don't have anything against playing D&D. If someone invited me, I would play, but it's kind of like not my thing. But so when they said the D&D, a friend of mine said, oh, the D&D Secret Lair's coming out. And I was like, oh. And then I saw it and then I saw the cartoon and I was like, you got me. You got, because the whole intro to that cartoon just played in my head where they're like, Cavalier and acrobat. Like there's like this whole opening sequence to that Saturday morning cartoon that just came all flooding back, and I'm like, I gotta have this.
So moving on to the next one, as you guys are all nostalgic over there, we're going to have another artist series secret lair, Mark Poole, which is interesting because it's the his original artwork, but it's going to be on the new frame. It's pretty interesting.
It's the modern frame.
Correct, the modern frame, the current frame. So the cards included in this one is going to be Balance, Birds of Paradise, Brainstorm, the original artwork of Counterspell, and same thing with Birds of Paradise too, which is really cool. Howling Mine and Wasteland.
Now,
so that's actually a very interesting one to me because I'm a big fan of Mark Poole.
Well, I wanted to say something too. I said it on one of the other shows I was on that I'm really surprised they didn't give us the old school look with these. I'm trying to pull up the Mark's secret lair here real quick. Lair. Yeah, I mean, it is the modern frame. And we've got, I love Mark Poole, right? Mark Poole, like Dan Frazier and Christopher Rush. These guys are legends in Magic the Gathering when it comes to artists, right? You can see further down the list that they give that old school treatment to like Dan Frazier even, right? But I've got Birds of Paradise in the modern frame. I got Birds of Paradise in the old school frame. But I think this right here, what about extended art? What about full art?
Yeah, I agree.
I think Mark Poole deserves something more than just a modern frame version of cards that we actually have these in modern frames.
But at the same time, they did the same thing with the Seb McKinnon artist drop. You know what I mean? They were just regular standard frames, except for the Swamps. They were full art.
Okay, and Seb McKinnon is a good artist. Okay, he's probably been doing art for a long time. I only started hearing about Seb McKinnon within the last 2 years myself. However, with Mark Poole, I've been knowing about Mark Poole's work for 28 years.
Yeah, Mark Poole's been in the game for a long time.
I even said it the other day. There used to be a time in Magic where somebody can tell me the artist name, and I'll tell you what card you're holding in your hand. Okay? That used to be a thing, man. 9 times out of 10, it was probably the bop, But I just think, full art or extended art should have been given to Mark Poole on this secret lair. Really, that's my opinion. That's just my opinion.
All right, so moving along, we have special guest secret lair, Fiona Staples. And here we have Dryad of the Elysian Grove, Metallic Mimic, Sakuru Tribe Elder, Soul Scar Mage, and Spell Queller. These are actually all borderless. And then there's a second special guest. This one is Jen Bartel. And this one includes Archaeomancer, Bloom Tender, Mesa Enchantress, and Meteor Golem. Those are actually really cool too. Also all borderless. Then we have the Phyrexian Praetors Complete Edition. That is all 5 Phyrexian Praetors. And it's all in Phyrexian, so I can't even begin to tell you what they're called because this is a little secret, guys. I don't speak Phyrexian in real life, so I don't know.
Ouch.
Yeah, but it's all 5 of the Praetors, one for each color. I guess one of them is Vorinclex. He's the green one, right?
They actually say the names underneath them. Actually,
I'm sure they do, but I just didn't click on it. And I was like, I'm going to save myself some breath. There's a lot to go over.
It's okay.
Then we have Mother's Day 2021. We have Mother of Runes, and it's Mother of Runes in 4 different artworks, actually. All borderless treatment and just all different arts. So that's actually kind of interesting. And then what John was talking about, the last 2 are going to be the Dan Frazier is back, the allied signets and the enemy signets. So all the signets that you guys all know and love. And the funny thing is, when I first looked at these, I thought they were the original Moxes. I'm like, wait, I was like, what is going on? I looked at it fast. I was like, is that Mox?
It probably wasn't a functional reprint.
Yeah, but instead of reading them all off, you guys know it's all of the Ravnica Guild. So it's have Orzhov, all that good stuff.
Sure,
Golgari, all the signets,
the 2 color signets, the 2 color signets.
Correct, the 2 color signets. Now, all of these you can get them in non-foil for $29.99 or foil for $39.99, and they have a couple of actual bundled up together. You can get all of the non-foil ones for $200, all of the foil ones for $269, or you can get every single one. I think that's 14 total.
For the low, 16,
14, 16, somewhere around there. For the low cost of $444.44.
Right.
It's a strange number.
It is.
I think they just wanted all fours.
Well, I mean, you get a discount.
Yeah, if you put a number next to another number and line one of them out, it's not a discount.
This is very true.
I think the biggest superstar out of all of these, I mean, I cannot deny the artist one, guys, especially coming from a guy who loves artwork, and that's what brought me into this game is the artwork. And again, we'll go over more about that stuff in a minute when it comes to the content creator talk. But I think the big star here is the Phyrexian Praetors pack.
I agree. That's what I was going to pick out too.
$39.99. Just one of these guys is $39.99. You know,
Yeah.
Man. The rest of them probably might get overshadowed by this, but more bang for your buck. This is a recommended pickup, and we don't recommend picking up a lot of secret layers. I think this is the first ever recommended secret layer that we asked you to pick up. If you're a player and you want some powerful cards that are really, I mean, it's a good deal, man. Again, one of these cards, $30, easy.
I am just happy that they made a secret lair that does not have basic lands. I get to sit one out. I don't have to buy this one.
Oh yeah. Foil and non-foil, right?
Yeah. Are you gonna buy foil or non-foil?
No, he had to do both.
I do not do both. I only get foils if that is the only printing available. So like the Throne of Eldraine Wonderland secret layer and the Godzilla basic lands.
Yeah, smart.
Those are the ones I have in foil. There's just too many. If I got everything in foil, I would have to put an addition onto my house. I already have 7 binders that are stuffed to the gills, and I'm only about 2/3 of the way there. Like it's ridiculous how many basic lands. I'm actually sitting here staring at it right now. It's humongous the amount of space it takes.
Now I want to turn to JJ for a second. JJ, it's a good thing we got you on today's show. There's a lot of questions we have for you. We've actually got some listener submitted questions that just came in right now.
Oh wow.
I'm not even kidding. I pulled them up and I'm like, yes, we have listener submitted questions. Thank goodness.
I thought you go live from on the phone. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Caller number 1, you're on the air. No. What I was going to say is, we before we go to the questions, if anybody's tuning into you now, first time they're hearing about you, how can they get a hold of you? We know that you're the head honcho for the Magic the Gathering Content Creator Awards.
Yeah, it's a team effort. So I'm on Twitter. I'm MTG Strategist, and but I'm pretty easy to find. I think if you Google MTGCCA, it's like there I'm there, and you're there too. And,
oh yeah, yeah, I'm everywhere, man. It seems like
I don't block, so I'm a no blocking Twitter guy. So you can definitely get a hold of me through Twitter or through email, mtgstrategist@gmail.com, or just go to the website, mtgcca.com. And there's different ways you can, I get a lot of, I would call it solicited advice through the feedback on there too. So yeah, I'm pretty easy to find.
Absolutely. And we're so glad we found you.
Me too.
Now we've got some questions. I think I want to start with the listener submitted questions first. So this one comes from Magic the Gathering Players Group Facebook group, and the listener is Mystical Pilot. They ask, who is your favorite content creator, and any tips for up and coming creators?
Oh man, so I can't say a favorite. I go through phases with content creators where I get involved with their content, and then because you can imagine I am in a constant constantly consuming content. Yeah. That's why I started this whole thing. Right. So a favorite. Gosh, it's hard. You're my favorite. Yeah, there's like hundreds hundreds of content creators that I listen to or watch or read their articles or go look at their art, and I consider it like a community relationship I have with content creators. So it'd be like picking your favorite best friend.
Right.
It can be hard.
Yeah.
And for new like upcoming content creators, so when I watch someone's content or listen to it, and you saw me kind of giving you a little like when we were talking about your channel, and I said, well, you have a good combination of free form and structure.
Mhm.
Well, it's because you can there's a lot of content creators that don't go through, and it takes a while to develop this, but they don't go through developing the structure of what they're trying to put out, like what they're trying to talk about. And you'll lose audience members a lot of times without that form. Like you guys have a good structure. If you ever watch like Magic Mike's, they have a rigid structure of how they deliver information. It goes through phases, and I would consider those like gold standards. A lot of times, the visual, the technical side of it will get you too. If the visuals and the audio aren't consistent, that's off-putting. I listen to a lot of content just in my car because I'm stuck in San Diego traffic all the time. So if the audio isn't up to par, so I would say if you're going to go into content creation, you're up and coming, tackle the technical side first. Make sure you're producing good quality content, and then as you start doing it, you'll kind of build your own structure and keep pushing it to be you're always moving towards a goal in your show.
Right.
Like you're always pushing to the next chapter. That's how I feel like that's how it should go. You should be pushing the show forward, and unless you're like Magic with Zuby, and he he does a great. He's one of the only free form podcasters. He gives his guests a kind of you can just talk to him for 2 hours,
right?
And that's kind of his, but that's hard to do. It's really hard to do because it takes a certain kind of personality.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, and Zuby's been around for a while too.
Yeah, he is old school podcaster.
Yeah. I like his stuff though, and I want to go back to some things you said. Number one, is some great advice. Great advice. Better than some advice I can give, because I can only give what I've been through and to help people out. And sometimes I even go as far as telling them what equipment I bought and stuff, Let's go to the next question.
Hold on. Before we go to the next question, I do want to add to it too. The first and most important thing is, if you want to start and become a content creator, have fun.
Yes.
Don't make this work.
Right.
As long as you're having fun, that will show in your content, and that will bring people in.
Absolutely.
You don't have to go out and spend $1,000 on equipment. Let me tell you a little technical backstory about me. I was using my phone and my laptop, and that's it for the longest time. My laptop somehow my recording software got corrupted. My webcam got corrupted, so I can't use my laptop. I am strictly using my phone. That is how I make my content. So you do not need to go out and spend $1,000 on equipment if you're just starting out.
Right.
Start small and have fun. That is the key to becoming a content creator.
Absolutely. I agree with that too. I upscaled this. That's some great advice right there, man. Great advice.
I mean, I'm not the biggest channel on earth, but I just clipped 1,500 people. And like I said, I have lighting and I have my phone. That is all I have.
Mm-hmm.
It looks
and
like
I have a blast doing it.
We have one more listener question before I get over to my questions and Peddler's questions. This guy's asking, do you still love him or something like that? The guy's got a name. Hold on.
Yes.
Yes, I still love him.
Yeah. Oh, here he is. His name's Kevin Smelcher.
Kevin Smelcher. Do I still love Kevin Smelcher?
He said, ask him if he loves me or if he's playing his love games with me.
Well, I can't just come out and say it.
Okay.
There's got to be a little bit of game,
Okay.
I like the chase.
Well, I'm sure Kevin will love to hear the answer on that one.
It's not the kill; it's the thrill of the chase.
Yeah.
Now, Peddler, I probably got a lot more questions than you do for JJ. I'll let you start. Go ahead.
Don't assume how few or how many questions I have, but I'll start anyway. So, JJ, what was your original inspiration for starting the Content Creator Awards?
So we, I was a blogger. I had my own blog, and I got to 666 subscribers on that blog. So I built a devil's deck I was going to give away, and the way you would enter you would go to someone. I said, go find a content creator who's got like less than 1,500 subscribers, anywhere, and then write in their comments, "You are MTG," and then like tweet that out or publicize it, and then put a hashtag on there and I was really surprised at the response to that. People got a kick out of it because I wasn't saying, like and subscribe my stuff. And then, I focused it outward, and it was hilarious. I was totally overwhelmed. I had a spreadsheet. I was tracking it all, and it was like, thousands of lines that I'm like, oh man, I'm never gonna be able to figure out who won this. But at the end of that, it ended up being content creators, small content creators who were doing this for each other. They were like pinging each other in their chats and advertising for each other. And at the end, we had this giant pile of people who thought that was just awesome. So hey, how about if we just keep doing this? So I created the community of the what do we call it? The community of MTG content creators. And we would advertise each other's stuff. And I thought, well, during that time frame, you remember a few years back, there was like a big rift between like some content creators who were bullying other content creators. And
oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to like say any names.
Right.
But it was during that rift time. And I thought, and I'm the kind of person who likes to take things to the next level. Mm. So I was thinking, how can we cure the sickness in our community and allow a positive, just highlight all the positive things that we do.
Right.
And Chuckwagon MTG, I used to work with him. We would build decks together, and I told him one day, hey, I just had a great idea. I think this is going to be great for everyone. And I said, also, it might be the dumbest idea I've ever come up with. And when I told him about the Content Creator Awards, he's like, oh yeah, it'll be great. And we had such a great response. But then I didn't realize like the back end of it was there's a group that is against like positive, trying to do something positive. Well, first of all, you got to figure like this was like actively during people fighting each other.
Right. Okay.
In social media.
Sure.
And then I am a random dude, right? I am unknown.
At that time, nobody, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I'm going up to people and saying, hi, my name's JJ. I'm, messaging them. Would you like to present an award on the show? And also, do you know how to sing? Or, or something like that. Like,
right.
And they're like, who this? So there's a lot of suspicion about what my motives were. Like when you walk into a room, you just start doing nice things, like trying to do something nice. And in the middle of a fight, everyone thinks you're just trying to trick them into doing something. And so I dealt with that for the first couple of years. But yeah, I really wanted to find a solution, a method of us highlighting each other, supporting each other, without the pressure. That's why there's no sponsorships or I don't want Wizards of the Coast to sponsor. That would be like my nightmare scenario, because they could easily just say, we're not supporting this anymore and shut it down. I'd rather run it out of my garage.
Right. I hear what you're saying, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
It comes with the internet, though. There's always going to be negative, no matter how big or small you are. There's always negative people out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it all the time. People are like, oh, way to mispronounce that. And I'm like, yep, that's good. Like, yeah. Like, I'm not an English major, man. I'm reading these cards for the first time for the most part. So I'm just kind of going with it. But whenever I get a negative comment, I normally just reply to them, dude, I make 10 cents a comment. Please, every video, tell me how much I suck. And that generally shuts them up.
A friend of mine told me that you're going to get haters. And I didn't understand that because I went back to him and I'm like, dude, like I started the podcast and I had one negative thing going on. I'm like, dude, what's going on with this guy? Is just crazy, and this and that. And he goes, you're going to have haters, man. You just got to get used to that part. And I've been happy-go-lucky my whole life, so I'm not used to that. But because if something like that happens, I usually walk away kind of a scenario. But being like a public figure, I guess you could say, there's no way of walking away from that. You just got to do what you got to do.
Well, also, you guys see behind the scenes too, because you've kind of been in the Discord, and but you see it's very emotional. Yeah. There's painful parts of it where you really have to put your heart and soul into it and believe in it, and just ignore the negativity. You have sleepless nights sometimes.
Yeah.
And for anyone that's just starting out too, because maybe there's people out there that want to start something, but they don't feel like dealing with that negative crap. Let me tell you this. Negative interaction on your channel is still very, very good for you, the content creator. That means that, one, they're watching your videos. Even if it's a negative comment, that is a comment that helps your algorithms. Even if they thumbs down it, all that does is make it so you don't show up on their feed. YouTube still sees that as an interaction with your channel. It is a good thing to get thumbs down.
I know not the best example, but the guy Howard Stern, people listen to him to say what he's going to say next that love him, and people that don't like him listen to him to see what he's going to say next,
Yeah.
So, I get the negative stuff will come on. I want to ask you some questions too, and I want to give you a little bit of a background. When I first started this podcast, I didn't know about podcasts, right? A friend of mine was listening to some horror story where they read horror books, and I'm like, what's this? And she's like, it's a podcast. And we would ride share. And then I understood what the realm was of podcasting. I was like, well, is there Magic the Gathering podcasts? And yeah, there was Magic the Gathering podcasts. And I only remember a couple of them that were big time at the time, Dice to Removal with the Professor, and Pleasant Kenobi. There was Load It Ready Run, a couple other ones. But now I didn't know about Load It Ready Run at the time, right? But I knew there was Magic podcasts. So I start going through this site, I think Spotify something, where I'm going through podcasts, and I just slowly go through them. And I wasn't getting fed. And what I mean by that is I wasn't feeling the cards. I wasn't tasting the cards. I wasn't smelling the cards. And sometimes I'd find a Magic podcast to find two guys are talking about the beer they're drinking for 30 minutes before they talk about one Magic card. And it's like, it's not even a Magic card anybody really cares about, So there's a lot of reasons why I started this podcast. There really is. One of it is my family and friends not completely understanding the game. And believe me, they want to play this game. They just don't understand what's going on. Like companions. If it's, I got to pay $3 to put it in my hand. Why isn't printed in on the card? Stuff like this, without going too far. How many Magic the Gathering podcasts have you been on, JJ?
Oh, geez. God, that is a great question. It's got to be in the 3 years of doing this, and not counting the ones that, because I was part of the Stomping Ground,
okay,
which was like a weekly podcast.
Yes, I'm familiar with that one. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and but I've probably been on maybe 20 or 30.
20 or 30
different channels of just talking to people, and then some people did. Like there are some content creators that do like creator profiles where they you're not on their show, but they just talk about you.
Yeah.
Those are kind of fun. But I've interacted. I've like behind the scenes is hilarious. If you see what I do behind the scenes, like the first year was great, where I I'm like, oh, I wonder if Loading Ready Run will present an award for me. So I email them, and they're like, sure. And I'm like, well, I didn't expect that. And I contact Vince, like Pleasant Kenobi, and like, hey, you want to present an award? And he's like, okay. And I was like, all right. And then I'm like, well, I guess I got to figure out how to do this.
Yeah.
It's like surprising.
Yeah.
Surprising what content creators will say yes to. Even cold, like they didn't know me. I was just some random dude.
The podcast you're on right now has a mission statement. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the mission statement.
With mission statements in general, yes.
Okay, our mission statement is Magic the Gathering is best with a communal experience, and a big part of that is when it's stemmed from knowledge. Getting assistance where needed makes it far more enjoyable. We stand behind this mission statement, so I wasn't sure if you heard about our mission statement. And when you talked earlier about Magic the Gathering content creators coming together to have like a force, to work with each other, we've been doing that from the get-go. We've had on a lot of people, other content creators, people who own Facebook groups, people who wrote books, a lot of different Magic the Gathering personnel, artists, Solomon A. Young, RK Post, just to name a few. But, we try to get anybody on that loves Magic as much as we do. And we tell them all the time, we want to help you promote your stuff. We're not asking anybody to promote us unless you want to, kind of a thing, but we feel that it's better as a communal experience. And also we tell everybody we're not the experts, but we have them come on the show. So I wanted to get your opinions on that. If not, when did you hear about the Cryptic Commander? How did you hear about the Cryptic Commander? Was it just being nominated, or? Yeah,
well, I think it was through your registration, because this year was the first year I had instituted a content creator kind of registry, where, because in the past couple of years we've had issues with participation. Like, I was just sending ballots to the gigantic list of content creator emails I had, and 25% of them they'd opt out.
Right.
So I'm like, well, let's just make it give more control to the community, let them register if they want to participate. But I gotta say something about your mission statement. The whole reason I got into Magic the Gathering was because of the communal experience. And I mean, the game is great, but I do a lot of traveling with work, and I'm at that age where I'm not going to go sit in a bar. I'm not trying to pick up, I'm not trying to date anyone because I've been married forever.
Right.
So when you want to go out and have fun, and you're on the other side of the country, or you're in a weird place, it's so easy to just look up a local game store, say, I wonder if they're playing a game tonight. You walk in cold, and you can sit down and have fun with people you've never met before, and you can talk to each other like you've known each other for forever.
Right.
That common experience that I can carry on my, put in my backpack and carry it with me. And I think that's absolute truth. That is the best part of the game.
JJ, there's one thing I want to say too. There's just a little bit of talk about it, because I know about how the structure works when it comes to nominating and voting and stuff like that. Even one content creator made the remark of, by looking at that graph, it's kind of confusing. Now, to me, it's not. But if you can explain to the listeners, how does the voting process work? How can someone get nominated? What is a nomination versus what is a voting? Does it make sense? I just want to clarify.
Yeah. No, that's a perfect question to talk about, because it does confuse people sometimes. And my education's in analytics, so explaining things with flowcharts isn't always the best way. So the way it works, it's a combination of peer review and audience. So you have to have both in there, because it's, content creators have to have an audience. So everybody can nominate. That's the first stage. we have a very long period where people can nominate, and the nominations snowball. So someone announces, hey, I just nominated so and so for this award, and then other people jump in and they start nominating. So the nominations can come from absolutely anywhere, and I take the top nominees. Usually I aim for 6. The first year I didn't aim for any number, and the ballot seriously had like 45 people on one category. And then if you're going to vote, you'd go and look at 45 content creators and 45 links to their content, and you're like, yeah, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to spend 2 days doing this one category. So I had to limit the number. So once the nomination period ends, we go into voting, and those are with registered. If you want to be a voter, you register your content creator and you opt into voting. Some people don't want to do that. I'd say about 75% want to vote, and then the other 25% are like, no, I want to participate, but the voting's not me. So the voting period is just content creators, and that's it. There's no other. You have to have. I review every single person that registers. I look at all their all your content on your channels, and to make sure that you're an active content creator, and then you can vote. Once that's established and you're a registered voter, when the ballots go out with the top 6 nominees, it just goes to those content creators, and I sit back and wait for the results. I have no input into who is nominated and who is voted for, other than content creators who violate the code of conduct. I discuss that openly on our Discord. Like I'm trying to be as transparent as possible and not make decisions in a vacuum. But yeah, that's the process, and it does get confusing. It's probably the one thing I've explained more than anything, because it would be nice to have a committee where the committee decides the nominees, but because it would be easier for me. But I think that would put targets on the backs of those individuals.
I'm looking at a chart here, okay? And you guys can find this chart over at MTGCCA.com. I think it just gets redirected to one of your websites, right? So you got an orange circle here. That's before I get to the orange circle, you got a bunch of little bitty colored circles, right? And it's got audience, peer, and self, okay? And then it says promotions or nominations. So it says nominations, right? This would be the beginning part of the process. So you would nominate your favorite content creator, right? And then after that process, you got verification of code of conduct, compliance, vetting, which I love the way it's worded right there with an arrow, a red arrow. And then you got another arrow here with circles. It's done very pretty, but a little confusing. Promotion of all vetted nominees. Can you explain a little bit about the promotion of all vetted nominees?
Yeah. So what we were doing during that part was, while people are being nominated, I'm posting them, I'm building bios for them and putting it on the website, and then promoting their individual content, no matter how many nominations they got. They got one nomination. Right. I'll build a bio, and that was a surprisingly monster project.
Yeah, it looked like it, but I was like, wow, it's got to be JJ and like 4 or 5 other guys doing this, man.
Yeah. Oh, it actually was me and one other person.
Wow.
Were building the bios, and I was so thankful he jumped in and helped me. And that was actually turned out to be a lot of fun for me. But it was, sometimes if someone doesn't have a public profile that is easy to cut and paste, or the contact them.
You watched it. Oh, you contact them. Okay.
Yeah. Say, hey, look, you were nominated. And at first, I also contacted people and said, hey, do you want to accept this nomination or do you want to decline? Because some people don't, like, this isn't their thing. And I don't want to just throw their name out there.
Sure.
if they didn't respond to me, or if they have me blocked on Twitter, then I would just put their information up anyway, because I'm still going to promote them.
Right.
I don't take it personal if you block me, but I mean, yeah. But yeah, that's the part where we're trying to, and well, the thing I love about the website this year is that page, because it really puts a human face on the content. It really before it was just a bunch of Twitter shout outs.
Yeah. And I'm not sure I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm not sure if you know about it. There was a little bit of negativity when it comes to the content creator awards when one content creator looked at that big collage you had up there. Daquan and the girl. Come on, I'm drawing a blank here. Dana Fisher, right? So you got Dana Fisher up there, you got Daquan up there, and a whole bunch of other people nobody knows, right? And it's like this, okay? JJ knows what he's doing. These are real people, but then there's a content creator out there just stirring the dust up, saying, "Who are these people? These people don't exist. These aren't content creators." And it's like, you know what? I know myself that there's a lot of content creators out there that aren't on this list or didn't get nominated. And believe me, a couple of them are friends. Like, to name a few, MT Genius wasn't on the list. Russ from over at Mr. DJ Longhair. There's a couple people that I know that are content creators that didn't even get nominated. And now that I know more about the content creator awards, I'm going to personally nominate them guys next year myself. And, I'm going to go through the list, man. I'm going to go through every guest we've had on the podcast. I'm going to nominate them. Look, I believe everybody is doing such a good job of what they're doing that this is a great thing that you have created, in all honesty. A little jelly over here, if you would say. After the peer voting, and there's more questions I want to delve into on this too. Invite members of the community to participate in the final show.
Yes. That's so that this year we've this will be the first year where I'm not on the show, which is kind of where it's where I wanted to head, because it should be completely content creators from beginning to end. And last year was the first year we had a musical number in the middle of it. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
Yeah, I did. I believe me, man, I've watched it probably more than anybody else you know of.
Yeah, it's and so I live in San Diego. Dana Fisher she lives in San Diego, and I know her dad. We bumped into each other at Comic-Con actually. So I just call people, sometimes cold call them and say, "Hey, you want to sing a song with other content creators?" And they're like, "Oh, okay, cool, yeah, let's do it." So I start building presenters. I start calling random people, and I try to pair people up. So I will get a very large content creator and pair them with a smaller
one. Yeah.
And this year's a little more difficult because I'm trying to go with a lot of foreign language content creators.
Okay.
And it's surprisingly difficult to pull. It's hard to convince people that speak my language that I'm not a weirdo trying to sell them, products or something.
Right.
But when I go to Japan and just send messages to people randomly, then there's a lot lost in translation. But I'm working on it. So yeah.
First time dibble dabble in that language barrier thing, right?
Oh yeah. And it's tricky. It's tricky.
Yeah. I know what you mean, man. A friend of mine told me get everybody you know of that's a Magic the Gathering content creator or whatever that's in a different country and have them come on your podcast. At first, on paper, that sounded really great. It sounded really great. And then I got some guy on here that was Cuban that I didn't understand a lick of what he was saying, man. I'm like, I love you, bro. I just don't know what you're saying. And he gave me that look like, what are you saying? Google Translate it worked great on our emails, but
well, you haven't lived until you've had your phone with a live audio translator on and you're watching someone stream and you're trying to read along and it's like it's half translating correctly and you're like, and you want to interact. It's like, I'm trying to make that leap. And I'm even taking Spanish lessons right now because I just want to interact more I think this program, because someone suggested you should have a foreign content creator award, and I thought about that really hard, and it's like, you know what, that kind of goes against the community aspect of this.
It does. I mean, now I don't want to. Okay, I don't want to sound like a mean guy here, but that does sound negative. I mean, it's like this. Okay, either you're a Magic the Gathering content creator or you're not.
Yeah, and it tries to draw a line between them and us.
Right.
And there's no, it's just an us. There's
Right.
no them.
I agree. I agree with that 100%, man. And without one last thing too that I wanted to bring up was, without bringing any names out there, because I don't want to do that. There's other content creators out there that have a big fan base, and I'm talking huge fan base.
Tremendous.
And, right, tremendous, right? And the fans reach out to you, JJ, and I've done a little due diligence on, looking your stuff up and finding out stuff on social media and your past things you've wrote and this and that. And some people even ask you, how come so and so isn't nominated? How come so and so isn't nominated? And your response to them was, well, basically, their fans didn't nominate them.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I guess, and I don't want to assume here, but wouldn't you just say to somebody like that, to anybody that asks you something like that, the same answer? Their fans just need to nominate them. It's that simple.
Well, some of the pushback I get too is there's content creators that have a huge fan base that violate the code of conduct.
Okay.
So I get those a lot. Like the emails or the messages that say that my program is garbage because I don't acknowledge so and so.
Wow.
And I try to, I've never not responded to someone that messaged me. I'll try to engage them and talk about it. I think I got snippy in one comment section of the awards where someone was saying something and I just wasn't, I was in a mood.
Sure.
But I that's why I don't block people. I don't shut them out, because I'm trying to hear what people have to say. Even if there is 50 pounds of garbage they want to dump on my head, I want to pull that one thing out that is something I can use to make the awards better.
Right.
All right. That's about all the questions I have for JJ. And we want to go over to Beginner's Corner. And Beginner's Corner this week is going to be about mulligans.
Oh, yes. Good old-fashioned mulligan rule.
So before we go over the actual rule of what mulligan is right now, let's go over a little bit of history here, starting with the first ever mulligan. I think, I might be wrong on this, it was you had to have either all lands or all creatures in your hand, and then
I think it was all land or no land, I believe.
Is that how it was? All land or no land?
I believe so.
What do you think, JJ? Is that how it originally started? I mean, because we started back in the beginning,
Yeah, I actually have only been playing for since 2013, 2014. So
okay,
yeah,
that doesn't ring a bell. Okay,
yeah, I remember what I call the normal mulligan rule, and then the new mulligan rule.
Yeah, okay. The old one was called the gentleman's mulligan, where it was the old mulligan. Okay, it's called the gentleman's mulligan, where if you don't like your opening hand, then you throw it back into your deck, you shuffle your deck, have your opponent cut it, and then you draw 6 cards. If you didn't like that hand, you can again throw it back, shuffle, cut, draw 5 cards, on down to 0 if you want. And that was called the gentleman's mulligan. Then just not even 2-3 years ago, they did the whole scry mulligan.
Mm-hmm.
Where now this is the evolution of the mulligan, guys and girls, women and men. So the scry mulligan was simple. If you didn't like your hand, you can throw it back like normal, draw, cut, draw down 1 less. And whenever you were happy with your hand, okay, you could be happy with 4 cards in your hand, right? You get to take the top card and either keep it on bottom or put it on top or bottom. You can scry basically with that 1 leftover card. You couldn't scry in between the mulligans. So you couldn't be like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and go down to 6, do a scry. No, I don't like it. I'm going to go mulligan down to 5, do a scry. No. You had to wait until you're happy with your hand, and then you can scry.
Yeah.
Now that's different. That is completely different now. Somebody else, please. How is the new mulligan? How is the current mulligan rule operating?
The new mulligan is if you draw your original 7 and you do not like them, you shuffle, let your opponent cut, then you draw 7 cards. And if you're happy with those, you put 1 on the bottom of your library. And you can do that as many times as you want, but you keep adding cards that you're going to put to the bottom of your library. So every time you draw 7, but then if it's your second mulligan, you put 2 on the bottom of your library.
And those come out of your hand.
Out of your hand. You're always drawing 7 cards.
Okay. Not to confuse, because it almost sounds like you're scrying there, like, oh, top, bottom. So I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. You have your opening hand, you don't like it. You throw it back. You get 6.
You get 7 cards.
You draw 7.
You draw 7. Okay, so you draw 7 cards. Now I know it's based off Arena, is where I'm gonna guess that this is from.
But, no, this was the London Mulligan. It was like during they introduced it first at some like World Championship.
Okay.
Or something.
Okay. Yeah, it is called the London Mulligan. Yeah, I forgot about that. It's called the London Mulligan, right? The new one. So you can have your opening hand. You draw 7 new cards, not 6. If you don't like that, you throw it back, right?
Yep.
Correct.
But if you do like that, then if you've already mulliganed once, then you got to take one of those 7 cards and put it on the bottom of your library. It cannot go on the top. It's got to go on your bottom.
No, even if it's your first mulligan. If it was your second mulligan, you're putting 2 on the bottom of the library.
So it's cumulative. It adds
Correct.
up.
It's cumulative.
So
it
if I
adds
go,
up.
of course, I know this. I'm just trying to help out the newer people, or the returning players. So if you go down to 6, then you're going to put 1 on the bottom. If you go down to 5, then you're going to take 2 cards out of your hand and put those on the bottom of your library, and you're stuck with 5 at this point.
Yeah.
Wow.
Correct.
And if you do this again, and if you do a mulligan again for some odd reason, then of course you're going to be putting 7 cards in your hand, new cards after your cut. You would take 3 of those and put on the bottom of your library of your choice, and you would be, at my opinion, stuck with those 4 cards. I wouldn't want to go any lower than that. I don't know. Maybe your deck's designed to go lower than that. Tibalt's trickery. I'm looking at you.
Yeah, and it gives you a little more control over what you have in your opening hand.
I think it's probably the most ideal way to mulligan that they've currently come up with, in my opinion.
I agree. You know what, though? It doesn't surprise me. I think Magic does this thing every once in a while. They go back to the original things, the original way things were. I'm waiting for Mana to Burn come back. That'd be kind of cool if they ever did bring back the original mulligan, but I currently like the mulligan we have right now. I really do. I just don't like it when I mulligan.
Oh, it's the absolute hardest thing to start doing when you're playing, because we're all greedy human beings, and it pains me to shuffle my hand back into the deck. It's like I'm already losing. We just started and I'm already losing.
Yeah, you're already behind.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think it's going to do it for today's show. Is there anything you guys want to say before we let the listeners go?
Well, I just want to say thanks for having me on, and that I absolutely enjoy your show. And what categories are you nominated in? I mean, or you vote?
So the podcast is in podcast small audience, and then Peddler, he's nominated for new content creator.
That I am.
Yes.
I was surprised to have any nominations and dumbfounded to reach the final ballot. Put it that way.
Right. I think we were on there for a few different categories, but we only ended up in one of those categories in the finals, But I think we consider ourselves winners because we have recognition that we are doing something. At one point we only had 1 listener, Yeah. And at one point Peddler only had 1 viewer. So I think
it was my mom.
There you go. It was my dad. It was my dad, by the way. But yeah, I think that
my own wife wasn't watching me. Put it that way.
And it was exciting to me, and I'm sure you're going to love hearing this, JJ. I'm pretty sure it's going to tickle you pink, man. I loved the fact that now I didn't know about the Content Creator Awards until maybe 6-7 months ago is when I heard about it. Just doing due diligence for the show and stuff. And I come across your Content Creator Awards, and I watched everything that's out there on YouTube about it, man. As soon as I heard about it, I watched the first year, the second year. I went back and rewatched it all. I think you came out with some additional footage later on. I watched that too, you know. And so I know what your program's about and what it stands for, right? And when I heard that we were nominated for this year's Content Creator Awards, my jaw dropped. And then I said to Peddler, I'm like, there's just no way we're going to get to the top 6, man. I mean, you're talking, there's some big players in the field. Yeah, we're in small podcast territory, but I'm a consumer of Magic content myself, and I would be a fool if I didn't listen to other podcasts, Magic the Gathering podcasts even, you know. So I just want to say that it's an honor to be in that category as a nominated podcast. And I don't know where else I'm going with this, but JJ, yeah, when we Daquan's video the other day, you know, when it went on, here's the finals, guys, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to make it, but you know, I definitely want to say congratulations to all the ones that did. And then I think the 5th name out of his mouth was the Cryptic Commander, and I was shocked because I was numb. And then my jaw hit the drum. I got out of my seat. I looked at my wife. She's sleeping, of course, right? I look at my wife. I'm like, we made it. She's like, we made what, hon? I'm like, the finals. And she's like, okay, cool. And she went back to sleep. And I'm like, I was just, dude, I'm telling you, I called my mom and dad. I mean, it made me so happy to know that we're being noticed, you know?
Yeah, that does warm my heart, because, you know, you don't win a scholarship or anything. Yeah, I send you, if you win this, I send you a glass trophy. It's just like a little symbol that says, you know, this happened. But the meaning of it all, like the reason why it's not controlled by a business or by Wizards of the Coast, is because the meaning of it would be warped. This has meaning to you as a content creator. Right. And that's good enough.
And keep making those guys push out more content. I love you, JJ. I love you, JJ.
And it's funny. John's reaction was like that, and my reaction was, I guess he never watched my show. If I'm award-winning content, they've clearly never watched my show.
It's been on this podcast. He said it a million times. It's like, he goes, obviously they never watch my show, and I'm like, actually, I think they watch your stuff, and they're a big fan of your stuff. He's like, no way. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you're getting traction, Peddler. You're getting traction, man. And well, JJ, I definitely learned a lot of things by having you on today. And for everybody,
definitely had a blast, bud.
No, thanks. No, this was a great time.
And for those that don't know, we're starting to put old podcast episodes out on YouTube under the Cryptic Commander. You can find us on YouTube now. This podcast will be in YouTube form with pictures up every time we talk about a card, and links to the description below. Okay. And until next time, keep spell slinging.